Hey YouTubers, Mike Sharp here, East Wenatchee, Washington. Let's do a little review of this 51 Ford F1 pickup cab that I'm chopping. As you can see, I've removed the front windshield pillars and a portion of the top. There's the section of the top that I took out. And as I said, I removed it like that so that I could work the bodywork around the edges, not in the middle of the top, in the area we call the oil can section. There's the two front cab corners that are cut off. And we'll go over here to the cab. We've got the bracing put in, very critical step. You don't want your cab distorting. You need to do a lot of measuring. I spent a couple of hours measuring out on this cab, figuring out where I wanted to cut it. We're going to take 6 inches out. I want to keep the original back window. So as you can see, I'm going to cut the whole window completely out. I'm going to leave the bottom half of it attached until I get the cab corners, all 4 cab corners welded back in place so that I can match it up with my windshield height. Measuring is very critical. These old cabs, I found, are not symmetrical. Measuring the door gap openings, there is a 1/4 inch difference from side to side. So there's a seam right here on the cab on both sides. If I measure from the bottom of the cab, which is not damaged, to that line, that's 50 inches. The other side is 49 3/4, and that's the way it was from the factory. So if you do have a seam like this one, when you chop your cab, you're going to want to measure from this seam down. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some problems. The cabs are not straight up and down like some cabs. So this cab, once the back window is taken out, it will be split down the middle right here, as I've done with the sides. When this is put back together, there will have to be a piece of metal filling in the gap in between all the way around. And it's nice if you have another extra cab so that you can use pieces out of the cab and pieces of the drip rail molding in that. I happen to have an extra cab, but it's pretty junky. So I may be able to save a piece or two, but I will probably have to fabricate most of the fill-in. So the next step is to measure the cab corners. You're going to measure from here, what you've cut off, up 6 inches. You're going to mark that with a piece of tape all the way around. Now, if you cut the bottom side of where you lay your tape. Don't cut the top side. If you cut the top side, if you measure 6 inches, put your tape, cut the top side, then you have to worry about the distance that you're going to lose because of the blade. And the cat needs to go out before I start working. She'll probably run once I start making some noise. Again, it's very critical that you spend time measuring, writing every measurement down to where you could go back and reference it. Cutting the back window out like I am is going to create a bit more welding, but in the end, I'm not going to have that stupid little slit window like most chop tops have. It'll also still have the factory seams, and the top will just look just like the factory. It'll just be an inch or so wider. There are other ways to do this, where you cut the bottom of the cab off with the front windshield pillars. Then you'll cut the 6 inches out of the back of the cab below the window, set that back on. Once you have that set on there, it will be at an angle. So that will leave a gap right here. So the gap here that you cut out, supposedly, which I have never done it, is the distance that you're going to be filling the cab in. That's going to be how much is going to have to be taken out or put back in once you put the windshield pillars back on. So for now, I'm just going to do some measuring, cutting on these front windshield pillars. Get these fitted back in, spot welded into place. I'm fortunate enough that I already have a windshield that's cut for the cab that I'm building because of the hack job on the cab that I originally purchased. Once I found out what a hack it was, I decided to get rid of it. So for now, I hope this information helps you, and